I do.
Beautiful.
What rest should they be on, right or left?
Oh, that's good.
Doesn't matter.
That's fine.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. Okay.
So, Dr. Ama, please tell me the wonderful story about the Ghanaian chew stick.
Well, this is the chewing stick. There are different kinds, but it's all in the same general idea. When I say different kinds, what I mean is they come from different species of tree. And I don't know what people would think about, what comes into a person's mind to select one over the other. What I remember is that my mom used to ask for one that's called chiapia. That seemed to be the premier type that everybody would chew. And we used to chew it when I was a child. Unfortunately, it went out of favor, and I'll come to that in a little bit. What a chewing stick is something to clean the teeth. This here is a bit long for me. Some people chew it really long, but usually I break them and I'll chew just a little piece, mostly because I don't want to waste it. I used to have them sent to me when I lived in the US, so I'd cut them into little pieces so I could have them for a long period of time. And then, when you chew it, you throw it away. So I think it's a waste to chew a long piece and then just throw the stub away. Anyway, what it is traditionally, this is one of many different things that people used to use to clean their teeth. And let me tell you, we are very particular about our teeth, about the health of our teeth, or traditionally we used to be. I don't know if it's so much so now. It's so many things that have gone into the breakdown of everything, most things that we have. It will be a long story to try to describe all of it. But care of the teeth, care of the mouth was very, very important. My grandmother, when the kids woke up and we all used to live in the same traditional family home, which is how it used to be. When I say we all, I meant grandmother was there, sometimes even the great-grandparents were there, parents were there, and the children. So many cousins and uncles and aunties, lived in the same household. Very large compound. And the older ones kept an eye on the younger ones. And part of the things they did, the older folk, was grooming, to keep kids well groomed. So when you woke up in the morning, you had to take a bath, a shower. Okay, you couldn't go out of the house without taking a shower. You had to clean your teeth first thing in the morning. And if you could, walked past my grandmother and you smelled either from the armpit or the mouth, she would smack you so hard on the side of the head. Anyway, I don't know if this is, you like what I'm saying, but, it's just to give you an idea. So we took very good care of our teeth. You could use a chewing stick. You could use something called sari, which is chewing sponge, which comes from either the bark or roots of certain plants. I think it was the bark, which is beaten to a sponge. You chew that, make a nice soft sponge out of it, and then you use it to clean the teeth. You could also use a plantain head. Plantain is I don't know if you call it a fruit, but it's like a vegetable, a starchy vegetable that looks like a large green banana. So we would cut the heads of those, and we would grind charcoal to a smooth powder. You beat the head of the plantain and dip it in charcoal and use that also to clean your teeth. That really made your teeth shine, because the black would set off the whites of the teeth. And I guess now that I know better, I know that it was an abrasive, so it scraped the dirty stuff off your teeth. And also, the charcoal absorbs smells. So you could, as you used it, it absorbed the morning breath in your mouth. There might be other things also. I've heard that the plantain head itself has some chemical in it that's like sodium bicarbonate. I'm not sure about that. I heard, but I don't know that for a fact. Anyway, back to the chewing stick. These things, you can't just go and to any old tree and cut off a branch. and start chewing, or get a piece of a door and chew. There are specific trees that are used for chewing stick. I can't show you because I don't know them. All I know is you buy this from people who sell it. They know the type of trees, and they bring it to the market. They cut it in, bunch it up, a few pieces for, I guess, the equivalent of 10 cents or something like that. And you buy it, then you cut it up in small pieces to use at home. What you do is shall I demonstrate
Yeah,
it?
sure.
Okay, I'm going to demonstrate how this is done. And you see that when I broke it, it has these sharp edges. You have to be careful so you don't stick your gums with it. But what I would do normally would be to okay, so I would get a nice little sliver, and maybe this is even too big, a small sliver like this, and go in between the teeth, okay, like that. So it's sort of like a floss. So go all around the mouth, and then chew this. And I'm going to show you how it's done. So this is the initial stage of it. It's still very hard. It's pointy, so it stick me in the gum. So you chew it for a little bit more, and it becomes very, very soft. And when you wake up in the morning and you chew it, you spit it out. You spit out the saliva that pools in your mouth, because as you sleep, you have all these. I know it's bacteria. My grandmothers didn't know anything about bacteria. All they knew is that you wake up in the morning and you have a lot of dirt in your mouth, which stinks. So you spit the initial stuff out, and then as you get your mouth fairly clean, then you can swallow the saliva. And I'll tell you something about that later. Anyway, so I keep chewing, and you don't just chew it. These days you don't see it too much because we've thrown away that culture. It's creeping back as we begin to reclaim some of the things we've lost. But the reason why we lost this is because we were westernized. A lot of us went to Western schools, okay? And it wasn't the in thing to bring this to school. You were hip if you had a toothbrush and toothpaste. If you brought this or the chewing sponge, they would laugh at you so bad for being a country bumpkin. So most kids stopped using this. And those of us who went through the Western style schools, we are now the grown people in the society, and we've lost this. A few of us, our parents and grandparents still use these things. They still use toothbrush. My mother does. She uses a toothbrush and toothpaste every morning, but then in the evening she'll chew this. And every evening she sits in the living room watching TV, and she has a little sliver of a toothpick going in between her teeth every evening. I do that too. In fact, when I lived in the US, I had a glorious time when I would get a package from home and it would have some of this chewing stick in it. It was just wonderful. Anyway, some of it is very bitter. The different species, like Chiapia, which is the #1 type of chewing stick, is very, very bitter. But after you finish chewing it and you drink water, the water tastes sweet, tastes like sugar. Anyway, so you make this nice soft brush out of it. Then put your teeth together, and oh, this is too hard. So I have to chew it and make it softer. Okay, so this is not hard, not soft enough, but let's pretend it is. Then you're gonna clean each individual tooth, okay? And as you're chewing, you're turning it around to clean the proximal surfaces. All right, go around the gum all the way. Every tooth surface gets cleaned. Go in the back. I'm gonna swallow it because I've already cleaned my teeth this morning. So You see, I clean every surface, and I'm only doing the outer surface. Then you go on the inside. I'm sure I look very funny. Go on the top. Anyway, you get the idea. So, okay. And I like this better than the toothbrush. The toothbrush is quick for me, okay? Really give me a good cleaning. Do the occlusal surfaces. Okay. But I like this because it cleans every surface. When I brush my teeth with a toothbrush, in here, because of the concavities of the lingual surfaces, I find they don't get as clean as when I use this. So I like to use this every evening. I'm following my mother's footsteps. So every evening when I do that, then I can really get the teeth clean. Now, you want to ask me something?
So we now have sugar coming to Ghana,
Okay.
changing the oral health of children, increasing the risk of tooth decay, at the same time that many of them have forgotten about this. And so, do you believe that reintroducing and training the traditional method with the Ghana chew stick might help protect the children from the coming sugar and tooth cavities that might follow them?
Okay. Well, before I answer that, let me go back and 30 years ago, 1986. I did a table clip, I think it was 86, I can't remember for sure. It might have been 86, 87, but almost 30 years ago. I was at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor Dental School, and we used to have table clinic days every year. So where students who have done research would, show off what they've done to the general public. So one year I decided I was going to do something on the chewing stick. I didn't do any clinical study of it. I just did library research. And there's a lot of information on the chewing stick where European and American scientists have come to parts of Africa or other parts of the world too. But the research I did really was by a gentleman who had come to Ghana, to the Asante region specifically, to study the chewing stick, and they did research on it. They actually did scientific research on it. I just did the literature. Anyway, they found that the different types of chewing stick have different properties. Some of them have antimicrobial chemicals in them. In fact, maybe all of them. They have antipyretic properties. They have anti-inflammatory properties, and so many anti this, anti that. But they are very reactive against bacteria. Maybe even fungal, antifungal as well. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a long while. But anyway, I did a table clinic search on it, and I presented it, and it went very well. Anyway, because of this westernization that I'm talking about, we stopped using this because we didn't want to be called country bumpkin. We adopted the toothbrush and toothpaste. Unfortunately, too many people do not use the brush and paste effectively. So they would brush out here, and it's not just us in Africa. I found that in the US as well. Most people do not know how to brush. They will just brush out here and neglect the inside and the back teeth and the occlusal surfaces especially. Of course, most people do not floss. They lie to the dentist that they do every once in 6 months when they go, oh yeah, I did floss. Maybe they just flossed the night before. Anyway, that's digressing. Toothbrushes are good, if you have access to them. Unfortunately, in some rural areas, they don't have them, and many people in the big cities, in the urban areas, can't afford a toothbrush or toothpaste. And I saw that when I lived in the US. You know, I worked in some indigent areas when I first came out of school. And a lot of people came in and they couldn't afford the toothbrush. Today, fortunately, you have dollar stores, so you can, get a pack of toothbrushes for $1. Here, it's not so expensive, and the cost of living, not the cost of living, people's economic outlook has improved a lot. So many people are able to afford the toothbrush. Toothpaste, maybe not so much because it costs a little bit more. And again, many people don't use it correctly. Toothbrush and toothpaste, they don't use them correctly. Even the chew sticks, a lot of people don't use them correctly. They will chew it, like I said, just have it in the mouth because it's there, okay? But then they don't know how to actually clean individual teeth, every surface of the teeth. Many people do not do that. With the sugar menace, it's been with us for a long time. I used to eat a lot of candy when I was in school, when I was in primary school. Our parents, not so much. But sugar has been around for a long, long, long time. My mother tells me my grandmother, her mother, used to use a whole surface of a box of sugar in a bowl of porridge. So it's been around for quite a while. Tooth decay in the adult population, especially grandparents, was not very common, I don't think. But they had a lot of periodontal disease. But in the younger generation, tooth decays. When I was growing up, anyway, it was quite. There was quite a bit of tooth decay around. These days, I'm seeing not so much tooth decay as I used to in the past, but it's there. And too many kids are consuming too much sugar because now there's trade liberalization, so people import all kinds of junk into the market. And in the old days when I was growing up, we only drank pop at Christmas time and maybe at Easter. Okay? So at Christmas time, my mom would split 1 or 2 bottles of pop amongst all the kids. And we were happy to have Fanta or Coca-Cola once a year or twice a year. We never thought we were deprived, because we had other stuff. But these days, pop is everywhere you turn. It's everywhere. And all the other flavored sugared waters is everywhere. There is something, a menace called Calipo. It's a little packet of sugar water. They claim it's orange drink or orange something. I don't think there's anything natural about it. It's just water and flavor and sugar and coloring. Every kid carries that thing to school. I've been disabusing the parents' minds in my office. I've been doing that for the last 4 years since I moved back to Ghana, telling them it's the worst thing they can do for their children. I've been encouraging them to stop giving them candy and biscuits. And when we call biscuits cookies, American cookies is biscuits for us. So I tell the parents, no biscuits, no toffee, no Calipo to school. Give them fruits, get them a little plastic container with a lid and give them fruits. And we have all kinds of fruits here. We have sugar cane, we have mango, banana, pineapple, watermelon, apples, grapes, you name it, guava, all kinds. So I've been encouraging in my little corner in my office, I encourage parents to give their kids fruits, variety of fruits every day to take to school and a bottle of water and stay away from the sweet stuff. So
Dr. Ahmad, do you think it's time for the Ghanaian chew stick to be reintroduced here and more commonly used?
It would be wonderful. But first, we have to educate the public about the utility of this thing and the usefulness of it, that it has chemicals in it that kill bacteria. If the public can be convinced that this thing is really quite good, not to replace the toothbrush, but as a complement, it would be very wonderful. Unfortunately, there's a downside. Development, as I said, the economic condition of the population has improved over, so many years ago. There's building everywhere you can look. So forests have been cut down and they continue to be cut down. The species of tree that gave us these good sticks are almost all wiped out. Yes. So we have to import from Burkina Faso, from Cote d'Ivoire, from Togo, because we wiped them out in Ghana. This is the unfortunate side of overdevelopment without caution. So there is still some to be found if we introduce it or reintroduce it with a good message, just like we did with cigarettes. Now cigarette smoking hasn't quite disappeared, but I'll say 95% of Ghana's population is smoke-free, cigarette-free. If we can do that to reintroduce this, it would be a wonderful addition to the toothbrush and toothpaste.
Well, thank you. It's a wonderful story. Thank you for sharing it with us, and perhaps we can send this message to the rest of the world as well.
That would be wonderful. And I'm sure American kids also would like to try this. Unfortunately, I don't know, because of the litigation, you might get a little piece stuck in your teeth and you might want to blame Dr. Duffin for bringing it. But it's,
we'll cut that part of the interview.
Oh.
You did
Okay.
beautifully.
All right.
Cut.